Hi YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel for a brand new Pokemon collecting and investing video. Today we have some of the top Japanese cards in the Pokemon hobby that are making moves this week. Some are going up, some are going down, but for the most part they're actually going up. And if you guys are wanting a little bit more information on these cards, then you can find everything from this video on TCG Player, which is where I get all of my information from. Now we're going to go over some of the top cards of Japanese today, and then tomorrow we're going to have the top English cards of the week. So make sure if you're not subscribed already to do so that you don't miss any future videos, and make sure you turn on the notification bell as well so you can be as up to date as possible as soon as this info goes live. Now, with this video as well, I just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is PokeNotify. Now, if you don't know who PokeNotify is, they are the #1 Discord server giving you exclusive access to restock alerts when brand new Pokemon products drop in certain stores. Places like Walmart, Target, and a bunch of other big brand stores. Anytime they get restocked with Pokemon product like Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, or even the newer products coming out, you can get a notification to your phone or to your app to basically tell you when these things are brand new to stores. Now, with the new set Black Bolt and White Flare coming very soon, there is going to be some high demand, and even then with Mega Evolution in the future, there's going to be high demand for this as well. So if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the restocks and the notifications of when things are coming out, make sure you check them out down in the description below. There is a free 3-day trial if you guys want to give it a try, and then you can use code TWISTED25 to get a discount if you do decide to sign up for the premium service. So thank you to PokeNotify for today's video, and let's jump into some of the best Japanese cards of the week. Now, starting off with the first one, this is one of my favorite cards, and it is a Japanese exclusive promo card. This is the Detective Pikachu, and I've been sitting on getting this card for so long, and I'm kicking myself now that I didn't pick it up earlier. I've just been putting it off because there have been other cards that I've been buying, but I really think I should have grabbed this a couple of weeks ago when I was looking at it at one of the card shows I attended. It has now jumped in value, and of course, as we find in this hobby, when you're looking at something, the second that you forget about it or you don't look at it for a little while, that's always when the price is going to jump. So the Detective Pikachu has actually exploded in the last couple of weeks. There was a big day of sales, well, a big day compared to normal, with 6 items being sold between the 21st and the 23rd. This kind of spiked the price up a little bit because it was sitting at $66 and it's now at $96. So it has increased about 38%, which is a decent gain for this card. So if you guys are thinking about picking it up, there's always a chance that it could go down again, but it could just keep going up. We've seen a lot of action around English promo cards as of late. And if this is anything to go by, potentially the same thing could happen with Japanese too. But I love the artwork on this. I think it's worth $96. I really do, with the exclusivity of it being Japanese only, the artwork that's on there that is really cool. And I think just overall, it's a really, really nice card. So if you are picking this up, look, I wouldn't be the maddest in the world if I had to pay $96 for it. I hope I can get it for cheaper, but if I can't, I'm still probably going to end up somewhere. Second card on the list is one you guys would have seen me pick up in a recent video when I went to Brisbane Trading Card Show. If you guys haven't seen that vlog video yet, I will pop up on screen a little tag for you guys to watch that after this. But the Celebi and Venusaur G. Now, these tag team cards have been blowing up lately in Japanese. The values of the Japanese cards are significantly lower than the English versions. However, you know, if there is anything to go by, usually when English starts to go up, Japanese tends to follow a little slower. A lot of the English cards in tag team sets have been exploding over the months, and I think Japanese is finally starting to catch up. So the Celebi and Venusaur has gone up 50% in the last couple of months. This was like an $8 card, and it's now sitting at around $13. Now, these are really cool. I actually picked this up in a PSA 10 for like Australian dollars, which is like 35 US. So it was super cheap, and I'm really glad I picked it up when I did. However, you know, I'm sure you can probably still grab a bargain with this one, especially if you are a collector. Next up on the list, another card that I picked up actually in English recently. So I'm doing well on this list so far with my pickups. 1 delayed and 2 out of 3 have been actually good pickups for me. The Pikachu and Zekrom GX as well. I picked this one up in English not long ago from my local card store, but this one is starting to go up too. So what we'll do is we'll flick it over because TCG Player never wants to give price right off the rip. This one's up 28%. So again, this was an $8 card, now sitting at $11. If you like tag teams, worried about the language, Japanese is the go, because this card in English is like, I want to say $6 Australian dollars. So like 35, 40 USD, maybe even more. I don't know 100%. I haven't checked it today, but everything's moving so quickly at the moment. It's hard to keep on top of it. But this card, again, if you just care for the artwork and you just like the cards themselves, I would definitely say go and grab a Japanese copy of this card, especially with Black Bolt coming out very soon. The Zekrum's on there, the Pikachu's on there. It's a cool art, and it's a card which we know are going up. Again, with another tag team card on the next one, this is the Marshadow and Machamp. This is a cool card. I've never actually seen this in person, but seeing it on screen is still really cool. This one is up 54%, which is some great gain over the last 3 months. Quite a few have sold recently compared to what normally sells in this one, so that could be reason for the spike. And there's realistically only one listing of this up on TCG Player right now. So once that sells through, people could list it for pretty much whatever they want, and price, once they start to sell at those prices, will start to go up as well. I think right now people are probably holding on to tag team cards, whether they're English or Japanese, but this just goes to show that stuff is starting to dry up in terms of tag team. Next one is actually one from Black Bolt. So this is the new Japanese set, and it's the Seismitoad. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe it's quite a playable card. It's not exactly the nicest art rare in the set, and it's not a special illustration rare, so it's not a super hard pull rate, especially when it comes to Japanese cards, because you get a guaranteed amount of illustration rares or art rares in those boxes, in the booster boxes. But for whatever reason, the Seismitoad got bought out significantly and just jumped from what was like $13 card to now a $26 card. So it's up 86%. I don't know why. I can't explain this one to you. Like it just happened. Like look at this spike on purchases. 22 items sold between the 30th and the 2nd of June, when all around it there was like one selling per couple of days. And then like when it first came out, there was a few selling. But it just doesn't make sense to me why this absolutely jumped. Yeah, the artwork's cool. It's Shinji Kanda, so maybe that's got some weight to it. People are just looking at Shinji Kanda arts now like god pieces. But as far as his artworks go, I'd say this is probably my favorite one of his, but still it's Shinji Kanda, so maybe just assuming that it's going to go up. Speaking of Shinji Kanda, another one of his bangers is the Magikarp. This is the triple beat version, so Japanese. We know how crazy the English one is. Now this one, believe it or not, is actually down on the 3-month chart. However, it has started moving back up, and there's been a ton of purchases of this lately, so it could see an increase. And I made a TikTok saying this earlier, like if you're a collector purely for art, you need to look at Japanese because the quality is so much better cards, and then they also grade a lot easier too. So if you're somebody that likes to grade and you potentially say 10 this card, I looked it up. It was like 240 Australian dollars to buy a PSA 10 of the Japanese Magikarp, and it was 2,000 Australian dollars, if not more, depending on the listings, to buy the version PSA 10 of the Magic. So say what you will about that, but I definitely think that Japanese is good. And I know it's because like the illustration in Japanese, they're easier to grade. There's a lot of things that go into the pricing figures that they're worth. However, I really do think that you're collecting because you like the art on the cards, just buy Japanese. You're going to save that. I'll be honest. Half of my graded collection is Japanese right now. So I really just like the artwork on cards and thousands of dollars. So there's that. But yeah, anyways, in terms of value, like this one did drop down to like $67 recently. It's back up to 71, but a couple of months ago it was at like 75. So it hasn't had fluctuation in terms of its pricing, but it is going on up, and change it to like the 1 month chart, it's up 6% a lot. So it's making moves. It's slower, but it's making moves. And to finish out the video, I thought we'd take a look at some of the Black Bolt and White Flare chase cards. Just they weren't on the list for this week's top cards. I just think it's great to throw some of these extra Japanese to fill out the video a bit, because TCG Player really only gave us like 5 or 6 cards their list for this week. So I thought I'd chuck a couple extra in, which I like to do for you guys. The Zekrom EX being like the black and white rare top chase card from Black Bolt in Japanese. This one's down 9%. So pre-release, it was like 357-ish. Yeah, 357. And then it dropped down. It's sitting at like 320 now. But there was quite a few sold. I mean, quite a few that were resold recently. So the price could start to go back up again, depending on what they sold at. Average price sold at 322. 3 items sold between 285 and 299. So it might go up, it might not, depending on what's left in listings. There's some heavily played ones, but near mint's looking like 290-ish is the earliest starred seller. But then once you sell through a couple of those, you're sort of looking at the 300 mark. So I expect this card to probably level out at about $300, and we are only 5 or 6 days away from the English version coming out. So I think when that happens, this card will drop in value a little bit. Speaking of Zekrom, going back to back with the special art rare, this one is 170. It took a huge dip, which was really weird. Like from pre-release, went from 171 down to huge dip, 166, and then back up to 170. Really random kind of movement, especially when cards like have just released. They always come a little bit, but this artwork is gorgeous. I know there's like a lot of hype around these black and white rares, but I would argue this is a nicer card than the black and white rare Zekrom. I'd rather have this, but you can roast me in the comments if you disagree. And of course, you knew we were going to jump over to Reshiram after we looked at Zekrom. Near mint copies of this are $296 right now. Pre-release, they were $370. So they have dropped 20% from pre-release, which is crazy to think about. This is why you don't buy anything pre-order or pre-purchase chase cards, because they always, but again, we're going to look at special illustration rare for this as well. 177. This one's down 27%. So if you guys are still buying stuff before sets come out, I just think and this last one I threw in just because it was over $100 in the Japanese set. We know these Japanese trainer cards always tend well, and the Hilda is no different. Sitting at $108, it is down 20% from pre-release. It was sitting at like $135 around the pre-release time. So this is pretty much all the top Japanese cards in conversation this week. A lot of tag teams going up and down. The Black Bolt White Flare stuff is going down significantly, but there's a few things that are going up. Seems like this Detective Pikachu is going to keep for a little bit. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, either grab it quick if you can find a bargain, or maybe wait it out and see where it lands. Start to come down. But with that said, that's all for today's video. I will see you guys tomorrow with the English recap of this week's top cards. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.